Hello, welcome to What the Flick. Ben, Christy, Alonso. We're talking about Rise of the Journey of the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes of the Crystal Skull. Ben's going to describe it.
Don't diminish it by bringing Crystal Skull ruins everything.
Oh, I thought it was kind
Knowledge
of
was the treasure.
Oh, Jesus.
Go.
We should go back and review that just for fun. This is the sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes, right?
Yeah.
This is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. The original, starring James Franco and Andy Serkis, was excellent, and it set up the sequel very nicely in the end, and the sequel picks right up there, and continues. What we learned in the first couple of minutes is that disease that the pilot, the neighbor of James Franco, that he appeared to be bringing to the world, he brought it to the world. And nearly all the humans are dead, but not all of them. Gary Oldman lives. Yes.
To say racist things, get him in trouble.
To give awkward interviews.
Meanwhile, the apes are living like it's 1479, but they are apes, so that's still impressive.
I know why you're scared. It took us 4 years fighting that virus. You all know what we're up against.
It's okay. They don't need power. Lights, heat, nothing. Do they look like just apes to you?
Are you aware they are going to turn on you?
Apes! Do not want war!
Caesar, home. This is your home. Your home.
Oh my God.
They're animals!
This is my home. What are you doing?
I'm saving the human race.
Should we shoot him? Maybe.
Whoa.
My friend Tom last night pointed out, shouldn't Dawn have been the first movie and then this one would be Rise?
And then they rise. It's a new dawn, it's a new day.
It's,
I don't know.
Tony Orlando and Dawn of the Apes. I
Yes,
think would have
this
been.
was pretty badass. This is beautiful, like from a textural kind of detail standpoint. And every single time they make it more and more lifelike. I don't know how they do it. Matt Reeves, he did an amazing job. He'd done smaller stuff. Cloverfield, right? Showing that he had like the chops for a big action movie. Nothing to the scale of this, and it's pretty spectacular.
I'm in a weird place on this one because I like this movie and I feel super negative because everybody else loves it.
Well, that's hype, right? Hype's powerful.
I don't know.
Right?
Well, I my thing with it is I think as an action movie, it is solid, it's well paced, things are moving along. But I thought that the characters were more interesting in the first movie, except Caesar. Caesar is still, the Andy Serkis ape, fascinating. He is a Shakespearean ape. He's a great character.
And his nemesis, Toby Kebbell, was, I think, pretty good too.
He's all right. He's kind of one note. There's a lot of kind of one note. The humans are all very one note. And I didn't feel like that this movie had the sort of cool metaphorical baggage that you get from a good sci-fi movie where they're commenting on the modern day by setting it in the future. The original Planet of the Apes, you can look at it as a metaphor about racism, you can look at it as sort of our kind of collective heebie-jeebies about nuclear annihilation. Even the remake, I thought, kind of dealt with the tampering with genetic experimentation and greed in big pharma. And this movie just kind of felt like good apes, good humans, bad humans, go, bam! And it's well put together, and I enjoyed watching it. It does look great. The apes look cool, and the set design is really nice with their sort of compound. But I just kind of wanted more, wanted it to be more about something, I guess.
Is it not about just like the darkness of man in general?
I think that there's some dark, like it turns out that the darkness of man applies to apes. Like that's how similar, and so there was some of that. It was not as allegorically cool as the original, but it's still a continuation of that story. And there was a lot of the exact same, they have this, the great principle, ape does not kill, must not kill ape,
right.
Ape, whatever they say. I don't speak ape, not fluently.
Right. Your ape is right. He can talk, I can sing. I keep wanting to sing Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius.
Oh,
Whenever
stop.
I see any Apes movie. Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but
There's only one reference to the first movie in this movie this time, which is great because in the last one there were about 1 million
a million. Oh, references
to the 68 version.
What was your one reference?
The orangutan named Maurice.
Oh, right, sure. And then it turns out that they named his wife Cornelia.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's
And
I
there
caught that in the
was
credits,
a little.
yeah.
They gave us a little hint of the music.
Oh,
from the
really?
first one. There was a brief little.
I didn't catch that.
You know, whatever that. So that was there.
We should
But
mention really fast that we're talking about music. The Michael Giacchino score is pretty
Yes,
amazing.
it is.
It's chilling.
It's really good.
It's a really good
Go
score.
ahead.
But no, I think you're right. I don't think it's quite as cool as the first one, just because that was as good. Off the top of my head, that's as good a reinvention of a series as we've had in quite some time. But I thought this was a really impressive continuation, and for me, the coolness of the violent nature of man applying to apes was sort of good enough to sustain me. But I agree that the human characters were not as interesting. But I wanted to ask you this because it made a difference to me. I think without the Americans, I think I might have giggled at Keri Russell in this. Like, it's Keri Russell. She can't do this. But now I'm like, oh no, it's Keri Russell. She can do whatever she wants.
I don't know. Maybe I was taking. And actually, Matt Reeves started out writing for Felicity.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, so it's kind of a full circle thing. What annoyed me was that she's been so great on The Americans this season that she's given such fuck all to do here.
Yeah,
No, it's not true. She's a strong woman. She's not like the woman in peril. She's a doctor
True.
with the CDC.
She's capable.
You know?
She helps people. But in terms of actual sort of character moments, she has a dead daughter. Like, that's it. That's the one thing we find
She
out
gets to
about her,
cry.
and she gets to cry about that. And that's kind of it. And I was like,
This is really a movie about Caesar and Koba.
Sure.
Right? Is that the
Koba,
Yeah.
yeah.
And much less so. I mean, like Jason Clarke and Keri Russell, they're fine, but their parts were sort of interchangeable. Like if she'd been the person meeting him and he'd been the doctor,
Same difference, yeah.
everything would have been the same. It didn't. And even Gary Oldman, like there wasn't much interesting there. He just served a purpose as he was neither good nor bad nor. There
were no secrets there that he was diabolical or anything.
Right, I mean, and he has a big dramatic decision to make at the end, which, given what he knows at the time, is a reasonable decision. Because, real quick, I'm sorry, because things weren't explained to him properly. Like that frustrated me a little bit.
Yeah, the conversation that no one's having.
Right, there were some Three's Company moments of just tell him you're straight. It's like, he'll let you stay.
Mr. Furley will go away.
This can work out, yeah. Right.
Have a drink at the Regal Beagle. Yeah, no, you're right. There is a lot of that. Like, just have that conversation. I agree with you. The Caesar Koba stuff is most interesting, but at the same time, it's take the ape part away from it, and it's just a sort of another kind of political intrigue.
But you can't take the ape part away from Planet of the Apes.
I'm not saying take the ape part, but I'm just saying the only thing that makes that interesting here is that apes are doing it.
Yes.
It's sort of like the only reason that this rap song is funny is because an old lady is doing it, that sort of thing. You'll have fun at this movie. I'm not dissing this film. I had a good time. It's solidly made. It's well directed. I just wish it were, and I don't want to hear, why do you want, depth in an Apes movie? No, the other Planet of the Apes movies, not counting the shitty Tim Burton one, but definitely including the predecessor to this one, were about other things and used the apes as a way to communicate those ideas, and I didn't feel like there were enough of those ideas here.
But there was emotional depth, and I would say that it begins life very delicately, and then it goes just ape shit crazy. It does, in almost like a grindhousey kind of way, in a very knowing, kind of over the top way, where this is not a spoiler, when Koba's on horseback with machine guns in each hand, blazing in slow motion through giant flames, it's pretty badass.
He did Stallone. I mean,
right, it's really over the top, but then after that,
The Expendables 4.
the all apes version. But after that, I mean, it's really tricky the way they again find emotional resonance afterward. There is a definite connection and a trust that has been built and lost and built again between Jason Clarke and Caesar, and that he can go from over the top apes on horseback and explosions to a moment of really quiet poignancy is tough and I think really impressive. There's also some badass set pieces. Long takes. There's a huge long take from the top of a tank that like rotates around the whole way
that is a
from
cool
the
moment.
top of the tank's perspective, and just a lot of thought was put into, I thought, both the intimate moments and the big splashy set pieces.
No, I agree. There is a nice balance where every so often you get, again, I wish these characters were more interesting, but you at least get like a quiet moment of, Cody Smith McPhee gives a book to the orangutan, little things like that. When there's not like apes on horseback with machine guns. So yeah, I like this movie. I just don't love this movie as much as other people.
Good things. Very quick done. I thought with the way that like they give apes, wounds or little characteristics to help us identify them.
Yes,
that's a nice little.
And you know who the son is because he has a slash across his chest.
And Kobo was sort of deformed.
They obviously saw John Carter and realized that we couldn't tell any of those aliens apart except for the one who was missing a tusk.
Yeah, so I like that. The danger is that whereas the first one sort of set up the sequel in this really interesting pilots carrying a terrible human disease around the world unknowingly, there is obviously a setup here for another one, and I'm sure we'll have it. But it just looks like it's just going to be a bunch of apes.
Fight.
Although I love the fact that Andy Serkis gets top billing here.
Oh yeah, that's
what
hell
does that
yeah.
mean? We talked about that walking out. Like, what does that mean in that when there has been discussion of the possibility of an Andy Serkis nomination for anything, like for Gollum or whatever, it's in a supporting role.
Which is sort of easier.
He's
like
your lead here.
Here
Right.
you really can't give him a supporting.
No, he's
Caesar's
the star
your
of the
star,
damn film.
right.
Star of the movie.
Yeah.
Andy
And-
Serkis gets top billing. I
And we
love that.
didn't, and we mentioned Caesar, but obviously we have to. It's great,
he's great, and he doesn't. How he manages to not get lost in all this is astonishing. But his eyes are so expressive, and I will also say on this movie's behalf that the CG is impeccable with the apes, and that many of the ape performances are so good and register so much with so little in terms of, because they aren't super dialogue heavy, so it's all about the faces.
mostly he says things like "go," but it's mostly sign language.
Mostly sign language with
His son is
subtitles.
pretty good.
Yeah. The son, the Maurice, all those actors are really.
Judy Greer is the wife.
Yes. There's not much of her on screen, unfortunately, but yeah, I was really impressed with the faces. There is a weird, uncanny valley with very early in the film. There's a bear attack. And that bear kind of looks a little. There were moments where I was like, fake, because the bear is just a bear, whereas the apes are intelligent apes with facial expressions and
So the bear takes you out.
The bear takes me out. Well, that's the thing. That's the uncanny valley. Like you can make a big blue avatar thing, but then if you try and make just a regular human being in CG, it suddenly looks weird, So that's.
Let's do our numbers. Since you were low, you go first.
I give it a 6, but it's a solid. You'll enjoy this movie 6.
I'm actually gonna butt mine up. I think I'm too low on 8. I will say 8.5 with you.
Okay.
You're saying 8.5.
Yeah. So
what
now
does that make our number?
Yeah, you got to do the number.
Fine, I'll go. I will go 7. It is better than maybe I'm giving credit for.
So now we're at 8.
Make it an 8. Make it an 8.
Now we're at 8.
So 7, 8.5, 8.5.
It's at 95% on the tomato meter. Everyone likes it. Everyone likes it, Alonso.
I like it.
What's wrong with you? Why do you hate this movie?
Bye.